Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine Oviatt, and I work in the area of learning services for Horizon School Division. I am part of a greater response team who are looking at ways to support families and children during this interim period where children are learning from home. We want you to know that we are very cognizant of the needs of families and are working diligently to support both teachers, administrators, and especially families and children. Crisis is not new to education, and it's certainly not new to Horizon School Division. And as in the past, our focus is always on supporting families and children and communities. I want to show you the tool that we have been creating with this in mind to support you while you're working at home. We do not in any way expect that families are going to become educators, that your role is to support your children and to maintain the health and welfare and mental well being of your families. Education is our job, and we will continue to do that. Currently, our teachers are at home, working from home, creating supplemental learning plans for you to access and for your children to be able to use. Our goal is to maintain learning, to move forward in ways that we are able to streamline learning in a way that ensures that children have the maximum benefit with the minimum expectation of time. Do not in any way expect that home will now duplicate what we were able to do in the classroom. We expect that families will be able to do what they can do. And please know that teachers will be doing what teachers do best, which is meeting children from where they're at and families from where they're at, and presenting learning in a way that is responsive and supportive and able to move learning ahead. So I'd like to take you right now to a tool that we have created to support you while you're at home. Please know that this is not in replacement of the supplemental learning, that this is something that you can use in the interim period, and it's also something that you can use to add on to any kind of supplemental learning that we provide. So if you go to the Horizon School Division website, you will find this resource by clicking on this More link right here. Sorry, I want to make sure. And Resources. So if you click on Resources, you will find it right at the top of the list. So I click on Resources and you can see Horizon Learning Practice Tool. So you click on that and it will take you directly to this site. Just before we get going, I want to show you a really fun little tool that I quite often use to record things for my children while I'm staying at home, and even when I'm not, because my grandchildren live quite a ways away from me, and so do my children. This is a fun little tool that if you're using Google Chrome, it's a plugin that you can download. If you go to Screencastify, this is where you access the plugin. Mine says it's already installed, and it will just add this little icon to the top of your screen as you can see it at the top of mine. When you click on that, it will allow you to record your microphone, your webcam, and then record. Now you can do your desktop. So I often will read stories to my grandchildren and show them the story on the screen, and then it has me kind of looking. You can record just your browser tab, which is what I'm doing with you right now in sharing just my browser screen, or just a webcam if you want to record something as a family and send it out to grandparents or other members of the family or friends that you don't necessarily are not able to see face to face. So it's just a fun little tool. You just click on that, start recording, and then you will stop recording when you're finished. So there's a fun little way that I use to record when I'm sharing things with teachers or with parents. When you click on that resource, this is what you will see on the front page. Anytime that you see a button that takes you to a specific area or a specific page where you can find some resources, this contact us link on the front page directs you to a way to let us know how things are going. First of all, we want to know how things are going for you. We want to know how this site works for you, if it is supported by whatever tools you have available. If you have other tools that we're not supporting, And also, if you have some ideas of things that you are already using that you think, other parents might and other families might benefit from me sharing this, please let us know and give us any feedback that you have about what's going on in your home and with respect to how we can support you. We want to hear from you. We're excited to hear from you, and we want to connect with you in any way possible. If you take a look at this web page, anytime that you see a message like this with a down arrow on the side, you click on that and you see it says expand. That expands to some text, which are just some communication that we have with you. Sometimes it's a little bit of a warning. Sometimes we've tried to put in some ideas that you can do that are don't require internet access. We know that online learning is sometimes beneficial, but not optimal if children are on, having too much screen time, especially with our youngest learners. This particular message just helps to reassure you that we do not want you to become educators, that your job is to deal with your family's mental health and physical safety and health, and to take care of your families. And that's what we're doing right now. I have my son visiting me, and we're enjoying our time together, and we're taking care of one another. And I know that all of our teachers are doing the same with their families as they work to prepare to support you. Please know that teachers will be doing what teachers do best. So we will provide supplemental learning should you be able to access. We're going to streamline that learning so that it's not going to be a 6 hour a day thing that you're going to have to struggle with your children to do. We're going to make it engaging and fun, and we're going to streamline our objectives. Our goal is to make sure that children continue their learning and that when they come back to us, we're not regressing if at all possible. But please know that if children are frustrated and anxious, that we don't want parents to make this a difficult thing for home. We will take children from wherever they are in our transition planning when we return back to school to where they need to be. So our goal is to support you and support learning, not to expect you to take over the role of teachers. So the drop-down menu looks like this. And so you just click it. At the bottom of this home page are just some links that maybe you want to, just some quick go-tos. This first one, the COVID-19 updates for Horizon School Division, community support services. We've just been able to identify where you can go to in the larger centers. So the Ministry of Saskatchewan, the Government of Saskatchewan, Ministry of Health websites, larger centers and what's available there, and their emergency response. This section right here is just helping you to have some ideas if children are feeling anxious. What are some things that you can do? Some resources and some research around that. And then this Saskatchewan Library Digital Resources takes you to a place where you can actually get an online library card for your children and access some digital resources that happen through community. So this is the front page. Anytime that you see this link at the top takes you right back to this home page. So you can go to any one of these sites and then come right back to the home page. I'd like you to just take you through what you will experience as you go through. So let's just take a look, for example, at our pre-K preschool link. So I click on that, it takes me to the page. Here's a quick drop-down note about developmental growth of children and what matters. Anytime that you see text that's underlined, that is a direct link. So this title right here will link you to the research on screen time for younger children if you want to know how much screen time is recommended, especially for our youngest learners. Then here's some links to ideas of things that you can do that don't require internet access. And we've tried to incorporate that on for every grade level of things that you can do at home with children without using screen time. And so here's some great ideas to promote developmental growth for children 2 months to 5 years. And here's some things that you can do just over the winter. And then you can pop that back up. Then if you look at these links, you'll see the drop-down menu is here's a little caution for parents, especially with our youngest learners, that Websites have free advertising. You might want to talk to your little ones about not clicking every button, because sometimes buttons take them to sites that are not intended for them, or may get you in trouble, especially if your credit card is linked, as I've learned um, through my life experience, that sometimes we need to do some deliberate actions with respect to that. So if there's ever a caution or some extra thinking around that, the drop down menu will take you to that. And then you'll see here we have underlined sites. So if I just go to Alphabet Games and Learnings and click on that, this takes us to some sites that we have tried. Now, I want you to know that all of these sites have been vetted through the learning team. We have looked at sites, we eliminated sites that require a financial commitment from parents. If you want those, you can certainly access those at any place. But anytime that there is a parent login, it's usually meant to be a free login. And if it's a free limited access, free for 3 months, then we've even eliminated those, or given you a warning about, make sure that if you sign up for this free one, that you make a note in your calendar to cancel it before the 3 months is up, or your credit card will be accessed. So some sites will ask you for credit card information, even though they're free. So anytime that there's a warning around that, we've put this little bit of information here. So this website has advertising with green Start Now buttons that are very clickable. So please pay attention to that. This one requires Adobe Flash Player to access the site. So we've let you know and put links there if those kinds of things are matter. So again, we go back to the learning practice tool for the main page. If we look at this side of the front page, this takes us to some additional sites. So this side is we're looking at grade specific, preschool, pre-K. Preschool means prior to school entry, kindergarten, grades 1 to 3, grades 4 to 6, grades 7 to 9. This side works with kind of general areas that apply to everybody. So we might have children with special needs who don't fit into maybe grade specific categories. Here's some ideas of resources that parents can have and what matters in supporting children, as well as some really fun sites for children who may struggle with, let's say, decoding or reading on-site content. So these are some sites that are specific to them. Arts education, this button I think is really, really important. When we look at children's emotional health, working in the arts, there's some drawing tutorials and drawing sites that talk about how do we deal with stress through artistic expression. Then looking at dance and movement within a confined space. Looking at some fun games that you can use with respect to drama as you're maybe thinking of some activities that you can do as a family. Well, here's some things that you can do in the dramatic arts that help you to deal with emotional stress. And of course, music, we know, helps to build brain pathways that help children to be successful in math and reading. So that site is really, really important. ELL refers to English language learners. If English is not your first language, this site will give you some sites that you can use in your first language, as well as sites that will continue to support acquisition of the English language if you are new to our country, or if English is a second language for your children. PE and wellness, I think, is also just as important as the arts, because we know that children who are active and moving are better in a better position to learn and deal with their stress. So under the PE and wellness link, there's some links for helping you to think about family wellness and nutrition, those kinds of things, but also some movement activities that will help you to continue to do active things with your children in confined spaces. We're not always able to go outside. We're not always able to access gyms or those kinds of things. So this gives you some ideas of some things that you can do in the comfort of your own home. The speech language tab is for parents who either have concerns about speech language or whose children are already working with an SLP, um, some things that you can do at home. Please know that this is not intended to replace an, the work that is being done with an SLP, and that any services that you are accessing through Horizon School Division, speech language, occupational therapy, counseling, or our educational psychology supports, those are still available to you. They will look differently than when we had on site access and face to face access with children, but those supports will still be available to you. So, this site is just to help you to support what speech language pathologists may be already doing with your children, or if you have some concerns, it gives you some ideas of some things that you can do in terms of speech and language. Virtual Adventures is a fun site that just links you to some places that you can go to without leaving your couch or leaving your home. So virtual museum tours. Some of those are also available through the arts education link, looking at art museums, looking at symphonies and those types of virtual adventures as well. And then we have this tab for Indigenous resources, looking at First Nation, Métis, Inuit ways of knowing. So we hope that this site supports what you are doing at home, gives you some things that you can do with your kids. If kids have some time and you want them to be doing something that will promote development and promote learning, we have been very strategic in what we have put on this site, and always thinking about families and children, and that is our primary focus. Please know also and reassure your children that their teachers are thinking about them, that they are worried about them, that they are taking care of themselves and making sure that they are healthy and able to support their learners as well. And we know that as we work together, we will be able to emerge from this maybe with a different skill set and using this opportunity to grow and develop and find new ways of connecting and learning. Take care, and thank you for listening.